Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series. It is Season 10, round 14, here in Monza for the second race out of three for the round of 10 in the Dr. Pepper playoffs. Hopefully we're live. I just got a message when I tried to go live before saying that it was forbidden in uppercase and in lowercase, which means it's really bad. So fingers crossed, we're all here. We've got 20 drivers, we've got two commentators, myself, Owen Wyatt, with me of course, as always, the man whose name's above the door, Mr. JACKOCAR himself, Jack Ricketts. Hello, good evening.
Hello. I like the bit where you said Owen Wyatt is with you this evening. I was like, well, there's no room for me then, is there? But I am here, don't fear. It would be awful if I wasn't. Monza, Italy, Cup Series, round of 10. Welcome. I have nothing to add, really, Owen. We like it here. We were here on Tuesday night in the Kia Series. That was fun. And unless your name is Kieran Spears, everybody else seems to be up for it like they usually are. 20-car grid, 18 of them full-time drivers. We have Waitsy back and Lesty also in for the missing Quint and Michelle. Two jokers, Sullivan Lewis and Jake O'Sullivan.
Now, what's interesting about this track is obviously we've had so many classics around here over the years, and I don't really quite know what Kieran's so worried about, because in Austria we were worried in the commentary box it was going to be a bad race, being best race of the season. Then we had Brazil last week, which went 29 laps clean, a bit of contact here and there, but no retirements until OKK binned it into the pit wall, and that was a classic as well. So we're hitting our stride really here. We had Belgium as well in the regular season a few weeks ago, and Baku too. So yeah, I don't know what Kieran's so upset about. He won Austria as well, which was a DRS train race, which is what he's worried about here. So yeah, I'm not really too sure where he's coming from. Hopefully he'll stop moaning. He will if he wins the race again, but that's a problem for a lot later on in the race. Should remind you as well, of course, last week we saw a new winner, a new first-time winner in Nick Egan, who is a playoff driver, which means if you are new to the playoff system, and you're a bit late really for it now because it's the last time we're doing it, if you win a race in the playoffs, it's just like the regular season, you get advanced straight to the next round, which means if you're bottom of the playoffs, you got no hope in hell of making it through on points. If you win the race, you get through. I think Nick was still like 6th or 7th in the standings. He wins the race, he goes straight through, and that pushes Arnaud outside the top 4, which could come back to bite later on in the season if that sort of thing keeps happening. So I'd mentioned last week about how the top 4 in the league, Casper, Jake, Kieran and Arnaud are so quick, and surely no one's going to beat them. Well, they're already behind 1. So yeah, that's the playoffs for you. And it's a shame that Waitsy is a bit late into the season, because he would be right in the mix of this as well. But let's see how he gets on around Monza. In theory, it's an easy track. There's only really like 2 or 3 difficult braking zones around here, and the rest of it is quite easy. So we're right on board down towards turn 1. Cody's have fixed the ERS bug where you got double your allowance at that green bar you can see on the HUD. So I wonder if anyone's going to get called out by that. If they've not been practicing, if they've been sat on TT like a certain Kieran, then they may not know about this. So I'm going to be curious to see if it catches anyone out. Wait, he's already burnt half of his ERS, and we're not just about at the end of Sector 1. Wasn't the best run through the first chicane. Slightly conservative in general, actually. You can attack the curves around here. They won't spit you out too badly. And I suppose it's hard to fully send on your first attempt, but still, he's keeping it valid. It's still a good sighter for us. It was decent for the Lesmos. I keep going to call them the Degnas, but they are the Lesmos. And Fruity Ascari, which is probably the easiest it's ever been actually this year. It's almost insultingly easy. Yeah, I'm sure, Jack, you'll remember back in the day as Waitsy gets it all wrong, typically. If you touch the curb at all in Ascari, you're dead. So it is still a bit weird to me to see the drivers just fly through there. Although saying that, Waitsy didn't manage it. So we'll see the lap time on the board for Waitsy. This is not going to be pole position. I'd be very surprised if it is. Will it be in the 119s? No, not quite. 120.2. First time on the board.
Yeah, so much Waitsy hate going on as well. That's not a good line through there. He should be doing better.
I've got high hopes for him. That's all it is. It's high hopes for him. That Ascari was no good.
The chatter from Waits is he wants us to do another season, like a handful of people do, but the boss man has tweeted 1 more year, and that was bloody 10 months ago. So there's only 2 months left of JACKOCAR. Maybe there's a miracle 11th season. Who knows? But anyway, Michael O'Kk. Did he steal a podium on Tuesday? No, he didn't. That was the week before. He was very much in the running at the end, though. I think he'd come home with a top 6 in Monza. But where will he put himself amongst the big boys then? Michael O'Kk, our first ever Cup Series winner and our first ever Joker winner. He puts himself on a 120.9. It certainly won't be pole. It says now, Owen, on the list, Danny Quinn, but it's not. It is indeed Matt Lester who replaces him as we look at his black and pink car.
Did Michael, his Joker win came here, didn't it?
It was
in season
here,
2, yeah. So
I believe that was also our first ever throwback race, if I remember rightly.
Monza was yeah. Monza did used to be the traditional place for it until Codemasters got rid of all the liveries. So yeah, I think it was, yeah. Okeke, who it is in general quite good round here. He nearly won last season's Kia Series finale here until he crashed, typically. So yeah, he might have a decent run tonight. Matt Lester, I'm going to guess this is very last minute then, if Quinn was on the list but an hour ago.
No. He told me 2 days ago and I just forgot to change it. So it's my fault. But we'll pretend it's Quinn's fault.
Wow. I tell you what, yeah, we snapped there for the exit, did Matt, and that could have been invalid, but he kept it on and ends up in 3rd place. Lobby host, that's not the line, that's another one who's got Ascari all wrong. So Bazza struggling through there. Of course, it doesn't really matter, as you know, he gets his 2-second head start when the lights go out. Nothing we can do about it. It's just a Codemasters thing. He'll come round slowest, but at least he kept that valid because he was way off the road.
Contrary to what you were saying about Ascari being super easy
I know, what's wrong with this lot?
You are right though. Way back in the day, you know, if you got the second bit right, you'd get the 3rd bit wrong, and it would hurt you. But now, as I found out on Tuesday, one of the laps that happened, I got the second bit wrong, the bit in the middle, and I was able to save it, and I took the
oh my god,
part, oh my god, quite comfortably. Unlike Jamie Griffiths, who has just sent himself back to Milan with that one. He's getting an early flight out of it. That lap is ruined. We may as well go straight to a certain Yuri Hazelager.
I'm not sure I've ever commentators sort of cursed this many people in qualifying. It's bizarre. I genuinely couldn't tell you why they're struggling so much through there. It's strange. I've got to say, I know this isn't a throwback week, but I am seeing a couple of liveries. I mean, we did have Jimmy Griffiths there. Maybe he wasn't trying to be an HRT, but it certainly looked like a classic HRT. We had Bazza in what looked like Ferrari colours. We got Yuri in Ferrari-ish colours, like the Marlboro ones, which he has done before, hasn't he? So this is the sort of thing he would do. So maybe the throwback spirit is still alive here as he comes around the final corner.
They're like, please, one more throwback week. That's all we want. As the Yuri goes P1. So we are getting close to those 119s. There's rumours that Casper hit the 118s. We'll see about that later on. Next up, Owen White, the first of our jokers, Mr. Sullivan Lewis. Somehow, yeah, you can tell me how if you know the answer. Somehow he's in the chase in the Kia series. The season, what was he? Season 7 champion down there. How's that work?
I'm not really sure. Maybe he... I don't know. Maybe he didn't get to grips with this game. He's another driver, of course, he's very good at this track. He had a good run here in the Cup Series last season. Could have won the race if it wasn't for some stacking in the pits, although it's not the best qualifier, just behind Yuri. Obviously won the Kia Series title here last season, so I don't know, maybe he can energise his season here. He's only 8 points off Ben Shaw, who leads the Tesco Value Chase. That's a much more controversial figure. We'll get onto him in a bit. But yeah, hopefully we see Risky Season come alive a little bit tonight. And who's next up? Mike Kelterborn. Where is he?
I believe he might have invalidated.
Oh.
Unless he's out really late.
I'm not sure, because he still says 0 laps on his tyres. It is worth pointing out, though, that Pete Knighton is on his
on
lap,
his lap.
and so we're going to have to follow Pete Knighton because he's ahead of him. He's actually next on the list, but we'll watch both of them cross the line together. But I did see Mike in the background of Risky Start going very slowly indeed. So yeah, that's a strange one, that. And I'm also seeing retirements possibly on track, but maybe that wasn't what that was. I saw a red dot as a retirement happened, but they are coming through the last corner, so we'll ignore that as Pete comes through. This will give Mike a toe. The toe is quite strong on this game, you might have noticed. If you've ever raced on it or watched any of our races, there's a reason you get 8 car, 9, 10 car trains. It's just so powerful. So this could work, and Pete's getting his own wee toe as well. So a lot of slipstreaming around here. And I don't know, it does feel like Pete's actually pulled a decent gap on Mike. I would have thought this will be potentially a good lap for the Season 1 champion as he comes to the line. It's P4. I think it'll be quicker than Mike's. It is by 0.4 of a second. Right, Mr. Controversial, Ben Shaw. What a surprise. He leads the chase, Jacko.
Yeah, there was... we joked about it in the early part of the regular season where Ben wasn't here for a handful of races, and the races he was here for, he wasn't very good. It was all like, you're still going to do what you did in Season 8 anyway, win the chase, blah, 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 all of that. He's like, no, I'm rubbish. Jump cut to last week in Brazil, where he was somewhat very competitive. Good result, top of the chase after week 1 of the postseason, and we are looking at a mirrored version of what he did 1 year ago, where he went all the way to Las Vegas and crowned himself Season 8 Cup Series champion across the line. P1 again. He sets a new benchmark, does Ben Shaw. He may be low down in the qualifying order, but do not rule him out. He is a contender, and I expect him to be there under the lights in Abu Dhabi, fighting for a second title.
Another contender in Gareth Hull is coming through. He had an alright race last time in Brazil. He was actually with his speed teammates, wasn't he? Ben was one of them, but that's an invalid lap time. And everyone gets it wrong for Ascari, would you believe it? So Gareth,
Ascari as well this time.
Gareth will he'll need a comeback drive because he's already 18th to start with, so there's a very good chance he'll start this race stone dead last. Let's see what the lap time would have been anyway, because he's obviously trying now. He wasn't trying as hard in the first half of the season, and he was very happy to admit it. That would have put him second, third, so it would have been a decent lap time from that. But no, we invalidated it, so it's good news for Leroy Hasselager. He's in the danger zone. He's bottom of the playoffs at the moment, currently 6 points behind Ben Harrett, and just the 7 behind Gareth Hull. So a good lap here will help him gain some of those points back tonight. You'll have a little tow once again from the car in front, and he goes P6.
Let's just touching back on Gareth very quickly. How exciting will it be to see him come from the back here in Monza? You may remember a handful of seasons ago when he got his second Cup Series, his first Cup Series win. What was he? 14th with two to go, and ended up winning. If he's got a whole race from 20th, he'll. I expect him to be towards the front at the end of it.
I think
the driver is Gareth.
About 6 or 7 drivers had like mechanical failures on the last lap, didn't they? It was one of those just bizarre finishes that you'll never ever see again until tonight. But anyway, it is speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it out of the question. 6.
6.
Yeah. So I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't say it won't happen. But here comes Nick through the final corner. A race winner now.
Race winner, yeah.
And maybe he'll bring some confidence through. Of course, these next 2 races are just to build some more playoff points. He is already advanced, and he goes third fast. It's not the best lap in the world, but he doesn't need to be anymore. Jordan's does, as he comes to the final corner. Another man in the danger zone.
Yeah, another man who always makes the playoffs, but just can't ever get out of that first or second round. Maybe with a lap where he goes P3, maybe he can pull a good one tonight and get himself into the round of 8. He could do with it, a little confidence boost. Next up, Corey Dalton, who we commentated on last week, Owen, and we're like, he's good, but he's just not quite as good as the leading train. He's just lacking that edge that he had at the start of the season and in the middle part of last season. Maybe Corey's still adjusting to this game, but certainly has the potential to go all the way. I think, what's he been in, 2 or 3 Championship 5s now? I do have the stats in front of me, I just have to go and find them. Championship 5 appearances, he's been in 3 of them.
Yeah.
Can he make it 4 this season?
Well, he's been spurred on a little bit this week by his burning rivalry with Catboy. You will have seen in the closing stages of last week's race that those two were, rough with each other on track. It was very aggressive stuff, and I think Kieran was the more upset driver, and Corey was just a bit confused as to why he was so upset. And they've been sort of bitching and moaning all week now, haven't they? And they come here very much looking to continue the fight, so that might inspire Corey to just pick the pace up a little bit just to beat his speed rival. And there you go, he's gone to P1. And there's only 5 more drivers to go, but they are, of course, the Fast 5. First one, Casper, who's about to finish that now.
The Flying Finn then, who only found out earlier on this evening, as he goes P1, that qualifying is based on regular points, which is why he's only 5th from last. Ben Harrett next. Incredible regular season. He was in the top 4 confirmed for playoff points at the point where we separated the top 4 from the club card drivers. And now just about finds himself above the drop zone for the round of 10. So didn't accumulate enough playoff points is Ben Harrett's problem. 3-time race winner in the Cup Series. This track you'd like to think would suit him. It's the most similar to the Paul Ricard Superspeedway. But if you're going based off of the result from 2 nights ago in the Kia Series where he come home P14, he's absolutely rubbish here. Can he get anywhere near the front? He did lead a few laps on Tuesday. Ben Harrett over the line. He goes P4. That's good enough. Only 3 drivers can beat him. Next up is Arnaud de Grief.
Yes, and he's come out with different colours once again, hasn't he? He's shaken it up a little bit, playoff style. Lovely toe off of Casper, that'll be very coordinated. And he's on P1 pace. He's about 7/10 up on what Ben Harrett was in the middle sector on the last lap, if that makes sense. Which means as long as he doesn't lose a 1/10 of a second, he should in theory beat Casper. Because Ben ended up 6/10 up. It makes sense. But can he get his act together? Arnaud, he's no stranger to getting a lap wrong right at the end. We've seen right, as it stands, there's the attenuator wall he crashed into at the end of Season 4's race to let Jamie Numbers win for the first time, but no such dramas. He's gone P1 as Arnaud. Good lap.
Yep, very good lap. I do miss the black, red and yellow that he had on for his liveries, but we'll put up with what he's come up with this evening. Still fast as anything is Arnaud. Someone else who's fast. Last week's pole sitter, Kieran Spears. The one and only Catboy. They, them, whatever you want to call them. Where can they go as we approach what we will lovingly refer to as Parabolica? I don't like the new name. It is Parabolica to us, isn't it? But round he goes. Nicely done for Kieran. And towards the line. DRS zone has been moved for this game. Only P3. It will leave us with just the final joker then. And the final drive of the night. Mr. Jake O'Sullivan. As it stands, Arnaud de Grief would be getting his 21st pole. He would tie Ben Shaw. Jake O'Sullivan trying to sniff his 17th career pole this evening. DRS down to Ascari, then Owen Wyatt.
And no distractions from any cars ahead. He was just slightly unhappy with Kieran weaving in front of him in qualifying last week. We were watching it. There really wasn't all that much drama, but he's got no distractions this time. He ended up 7th that day, but he got himself to the front pretty quickly. So maybe he'll just skip the middleman and qualify up at the front this week. It is what we expect out of him. He is arguably the fastest driver of the season so far. And as he comes around the final corner, uses what's left of his DRS. He might just derate as he gets to the line, but Jake O'Sullivan goes on to pole position. And that's a statement once again for the man that ERT, it has to be said, are trying to just destroy, really. But he keeps snapping back at them, and he's gone pole once again. And he would absolutely love to take a 3rd title away from ERT. Just keep losing it in between themselves, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. Jake with the chance to become a 3-time champion as well. Now that there's no Khalifa, there's no Jamie Wright, he's the only man who could possibly break that record and move off of 2. Still never had a back-to-back champion in Cup or Kia, but he is the most likely. Is he? No, he's not, because this is our final season. It'll never be done. I had to think about that.
Yeah. Unless, well, no, yeah, Kalipa's gone, isn't he? There's no, even if he did come back, nothing he can do. But yeah, well, we'll see how Jay gets along. A 3-time champion. To be fair, actually, we don't really want one, do we? A 3-time champion, but if it happens, it happens.
Disgusting.
It's disgraceful, really, isn't it? Right, here's our grid then. The pole sitter once again is Jake O'Sullivan. Arnold second, Casper, Kieran, and Corey next to each other. Look out for the Faris into turn 1 then. Ben Shaw in 6th, Ben Harrett 7th, and Yuri 8th, Jordan 9th, Nick, last week's winner, in 10th, Risky 11th, Waitsy 12th, Pete in 13th, Leroy 14th, Mike 15th, Michael, okay, 16th, Matt Lester 17th, Bazza luckily didn't put it in the wall in 18th, and then Jamie Griffiths did put it in the wall in 19th, and yeah, Gareth got it wrong at Ascari as well, and starts stone dead last. In the sunset conditions, I see wet tyres in the pit lane, you see wet tyres in the pit lane, ignore that, we always have to mention it, because it always makes you think you're going to get rain, but I don't think we're due any today, as we await our drivers. Is there anything we haven't mentioned? Have we mentioned stages yet? We should do that. Laps 8 and 18.
Yep. The first one, for those who don't know, the first one doesn't really matter other than it gives you a playoff point. As long as you pit sometime between lap 3 and before the second stage, then you can do as you wish. And then the second stage is the one that really matters, where the race we have found seems to make it come alive since we've introduced that rule. Big fan of the stages. They were, I believe, introduced halfway through season 1, and then they were backdated so that everybody got a point all the way back to Australia round 1 season 1, and they've been with us ever since.
It makes you wonder. I see a lot of people complain about them in NASCAR. I know they go straight to yellow when you get to a stage there, and we do that as well in the super speedway, it has to be said, but it's a fantastic system. I don't know why people have an issue with it.
I know, right? Someone who doesn't have an issue with it, if you look to the live chat, Mr. Wyatt, is Mr. Colin Mason. He says he's a one-hub driver, but he bleeds orange underneath. Colin Mason says JACKOCAR needs to continue. I'm hearing that a lot from a lot of people. They're trying to persuade me. I quite like the idea of free time. My Thursday's back and whatnot.
Well, the thing is, Jack Goodings, he's panicking a little bit, because if the Thursday becomes free again, it's not going to be you the one to talk to. They'll go straight back to him and say, right, you've had 5 years off, get yourself back in the game.
Yeah.
And he won't want that, trust me. But this is meant to be a one-season thing, and Jack Gooding's like, nah, make it at least 10.
Jack Gooden, in that 5-year period, he's got married, had a baby, bought a cat, moved house to a bigger house, got a promotion at work. You know, he's had an adulting 5 years. As I watched Jake almost drive into the Qatar Airways barriers on the inside of the track. Does ILR return for 2025? That's the question.
I'd guess the answer's probably no.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's just on permanent hiatus. It's fantastic. But, yes. I wonder if Jack Gooding ever watches this anymore. Wonder if he's proud of what he's created. You know, this is kind of still technically his fault.
A little bit. It's his fault because he didn't want to continue. That I had to take it over, give the drivers somewhere to attend on a Thursday evening. I built up a small team. For those of you who don't know, the small team that consisted of myself, Khalifa, Bazza, Mr. John, and the other man in my left and right ear, Owen Wyatt. Between us, we built up the rules, made a format, and here we are, 5 years down the road, eyeing up another glorious playoff campaign. And Jake O'Sullivan leads the cars around the twilighty Monza dusk setting. I tried to romanticise that, it didn't work. But I'll do the formalities. Lap 18 and 8 are the stages. Jake O'Sullivan and Sullivan Lewis are your jokers. It's Monza, it's Thursday night, it's prime time, it's Cup Series. the JACKOCAR playoffs round 14. Owen Wyatt will bring the cars round onto the grid. And the next thing you hear from me is an update at the end of lap 1, where we say Jake has held the lead for a whole lap and got another playoff point.
Yes, or maybe no, you'll find out. A massive amount of weaving's going on here. I feel like we never see it this aggressive. They're very much getting the tyre grip. I suppose if you get to the Lesmos and they're still not up to temperature, you are in big trouble. But that's some way down the lap. But these are going to be some pretty hot tyres on the grid as Jake parks into P1 perfectly, it has to be said. Gareth was exploring the track limits at turn 1 and 2, but I mean he ignored it and took the escape route. And yeah, he's on hard compound tyres, as is Matt Lester and Risky. We've got 2 on the softs, Ben Shaw and Baza. So the rest are on mediums, including Jake. Of course, he can pit whenever he wants in this race after lap 3 anyway.
Look at the state of this at the back.
I know
sorry to interrupt.
it is something else, isn't it? I'm surprised he can get away with it, but Baz has put himself in a position where when he launches now, he can be fine. But the rest of them, boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing here in Monza. Massive run down towards turn 1, looking for Ben Shaw on those softs. He's already made a position up. Jake is covering off any challenges from ERT behind. It's a good start from him. He will lead into the first chicane. Let's see how we all go behind though, side by side for a lot of drivers. A few going over the curbs, a few who locked each other off the road, but it's Jake O'Sullivan, nearly a second clear already. Catboy's on because he's got Ben Shaw on him, and Corey's not going to attack the man on softs for now. Certainly Ben Shaw has to be the guy to look at for making progress in this race. OKK and a few guys behind OKK are all having a very big accident, so OKK making the place up to 10th. A lucky boy, because half the field have been involved in this accident. I'll be very surprised if they haven't all got some sort of damage. I think Gareth Halls got through there purely because he was last heading in, but they all sort of piled up on each other there. Safety car, of course, is deployed. Jimmy Griffiths is out. Leroy's definitely lost the whole front wing. Ben Harrett and Yuri actually going off at the first chicane. I might have spared them damage in this. I think they're okay as well. Mike's got damage. Baza as well has done well to avoid. Matt Lester has damage. Waitsy can't get a good view of his car. Nor can I get a good view of Risky's. We'll see who pits at the end of the lap. But at least at the front it stayed clean. But that was a mess at the back, wasn't it?
It was a mess, and Gareth was the man who benefited the most there. I actually watched him. He had a very good start. He 3 positions off the start for Mr. Hall, and then that crash that you mentioned just now has put him all the way up to what's now 13th. Lesty still having problems, by the way. He's falling behind Yuri because of early pit stops, non-mandatory pit stops. But from what we did get of racing, they went further than the Kia series did on lap 1, certainly on Tuesday night. There's a very clear group of Jake down to Corey that broke away from Nick and the rest of them. So I think we have the early signs of a train. As this, by the way, I've just noticed Owen has upgraded to a full safety car. I thought it was still under VSC. The game
yes, the game. Yeah, luckily they put the wee yellow dot out there, so I didn't miss that because that could have been quite confusing. I'm surprised more people don't do what Leroy's done, actually, because if you're under safety car, if you're making this pit stop purely because you need to fix your front wing, it's not a strategy thing, so why not just stick the inters on? You're going to take them off at the end of the lap. You don't wear your tyres at all for later in the race. I don't know if it actually helps, but I suppose if you're in the last lap of the race and you've got that one extra lap of grip on the tyres, then that you're sorted. I had already just fancied being different, but we've got 4 different compounds of tyre out there at the moment anyway. Only 2 pitted, but there are more with damage because, again, they'll be waiting until the end of lap 3 to make their pit stops. At least that way they can make it a mandatory. But yeah, Ben made the 1 place up then on that start, and he made that pretty much straight away. Corey now has a car between himself and Kieran, which is fantastic news for those two who'd probably like to stay in the race for a little bit longer. And Kieran, it has to be said, was putting a lot of pressure on to Arnoud, it looked like, so he did well to hold off on that. Because obviously, again, the goal is to break teams up, isn't it? So if you're speed, you want to break ERT up. If you're ERT, you want to break speed up. But yeah, we'll see that take place throughout the race anyway. I would have thought the safety car might come in at the end of this lap. Tends to last 3 laps, even though it is a short lap around here. Sometimes it'll last 4, but we think it does tend to last 3. Mike is in, Matt Lester's in again, and I would have thought Leroy would also follow on those inters. And yeah, they should. Oh, Leroy.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, moving on.
News in from Jamie Griffiths. He started with why do I fucking bother?
Yeah,
which is nice.
It's a standard, really, isn't it? Actually, these days.
I asked what happened. He says, to be honest, I don't even know. I'm just pissed. To which I replied, don't drink and drive. If ever there was an advert for it, that was it. And then he gave us more in-depth explanation, saying a car spun across the track and the hole that he was going through closed up too quickly for him to make it through. So it's a classic passenger of another incident, and it's Jamie Griffiths who comes out worse off. It'd be not quite detrimental to his championship hopes just yet, but if we look at the chase situation, he comes into this one minus 15 to Ben Shaw. He's 9th for not being here. But yeah, Jamie will lose ground to the rest, providing they will finish, and I have a strong feeling that a good handful of 8 of those cars ahead of him will certainly finish.
Let's just
looking the most lively up front.
I'm going to interrupt because look at the safety car. This needs to make a decision to stay out now, and if it does, expect a flurry of pit stops. This, I don't get why people aren't. Yeah, some people are pitting. This is going to undo Joker advantages, I would have thought. I cannot believe Ben Shaw's the only one taking this opportunity.
Well, him and maybe Bazza, because Bazza's on the side. No, he stays out, does Bazza. So Ben Shaw and Ben Harrott then.
The two Bens have the right idea here. This is a mandatory stop. This counts.
Yep.
This effectively puts them on their own Joker. I can't believe more drivers haven't done that. If all the drivers had done that, it would have nullified all the Jokers around them. Is what that would have done.
The Jokers are 1st and 10th, so Sullivan's gained 1 position out of it. It's nothing. The two Bens, watch out for them. I mean,
well, look at all the back three. All the back three. All the back three have now made their first mandatory stops.
That's very true. Yeah.
So that's very good thinking. That I'm surprised others didn't fancy giving that a go, especially Bazza. I suppose to a certain extent I can understand why these guys on mediums didn't want to do it, because, well, I mean, you'd have a second set of mediums available, wouldn't you? I think you do get 2 sets of mediums if you go for balance, which I would have thought most people would do. There's no point picking softer, is there? You're only going to do 1 qualifying lap. That's for the tyre allocation, so surely most would have a second set of mediums, and then they can do softs at the end. But maybe I don't know my strategy as well as I think I do. The Bens will decide on that one.
I agree with you. I think they've done the right thing here. It's very rare that the safety car stays out that extra lap.
It's good thing I explained it could do, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're going to benefit massively here, because everyone has to make a pit stop between now and whenever they want, but they then have to make a second one, other than the leader and the man in 10th.
Of course.
We have a race on our hands, Owen Wyatt.
Of course, they do have to get to the end of lap 18, but I could possibly, say preemptively there might be 1 or 2 more safety cars between now and then, so the tyres should be fine. As Jake comes around the final corner, we often see quite chaotic restarts here. Casper's already got overtake engaged here, waiting for Jake to go, and he's away. He's got the jump, I think, on Casper, but the slipstream down towards turn 1 might be enough to help. And look at that, Kieran's all over the grass there, trying to get through there on Arnold. Look at all the weaving going on here. This is surely going to be contact into turn 1, and it is. Arnold sliding across the road. Front wing damage for his teammate in Corey, and there's a bit more contact through there in the pack as well, as Kieran falls way down the field. So that might be Corey on the way to the pits at the end of this lap, because he's going to be a bit of a roadblock. And he's already nearly been overtaken. And oh my goodness me, how are we not having another accident here, people? OKK's getting involved in the mix. He's up to P7. There's a car backwards there. That's Bazza. If only he'd pitted, mate. Ben Shaw's already up to 15th, and Kieran is going down even further. Wonder what's going on there with him. Has he actually got some sort of issue? But with his setup or something. but Ben Shaw is already up to 14th place. So we've got to keep an eye on this. Risky is in 9th, having just been overtaken by Jordan, and of course Jake is still leading the race. But looking at this side by side, Risky does have to back off. Let's look back at the leaders, because Casper is very much all over the back, and he's using hot lap mode. This must be something new we can see here, you know, as he takes the lead of the race. I think that might be part of the update. Look, you can see what ERS modes they're using now. How nice is that? So, we can describe what the drivers are doing in more detail as Casper takes the lead, and this might be quite a mess in towards turn 1. There's no DRS yet, I assure you, but it's very much a DRS train, and they're very much racing free wide towards turn 1. Now, we saw how this went on the restart. Let's see how it goes now. ERT, move to 1-2.
Yes, they do. And it was almost as if Arnow had the opportunity to get past Casper, but just backed off enough to let him lead the way through, which means very soon Jake is going to be re-overtaking him. Yellow flags further back.
It's for Mike, I believe.
Leroy.
Is it? Oh no, it's Mike. He's nearly hit Baz as he came back on as well. Kieran's been in the pits now. Maybe he had a puncture or something. He was all over the grass. Perhaps he picked something up. I know it's not possible, but I'll pretend it is. Either way, he's last now by some distance. So that's what you stand to lose if something goes wrong at this stage. Ben Shaw 13th, Ben Harrett 15th, Leroy 16th again. They are the drivers who, under that safety car, made mandatory stops. It is very much worth keeping an eye on them, as filing through to the Parabolica chicane. The DRS train, as it stands, currently consists of Casper, Arnaud, Jake, Corey and Pete. And there's then a second train from Nick Egan back all the way to Yori, who's in 13th, who's just been overtaken by Ben Shaw. Fast as that for a lead, or possibly not. Maybe they're happier just going line or stern, just stop Jake from attacking. But Jake, I suppose, doesn't have to risk too much. He is on that Joker, he has got the advantage inherently because he has to make one less stop.
Yeah, at some point.
Look at Pete Knighton, by the way.
I know, he's rapid at the minute. In fact, he's so rapid, he's going to try and overtake Corey, is he?
Obviously, damaged Corey, it has to be reminded, but still, if he can make this happen, Pete Knighton, this is encouraging stuff, which I know every time we say this sort of thing, it all goes wrong quite spectacularly. But for now, it's going well. Same for OKK, it's going shockingly well for the two of them. Let's hope it continues, because it is good to see some of the old guard back up there.
About the ERT boys, if they don't attack each other, it's going to bring everybody else back into it, isn't it? The likes of Corey, Pete, Nick and OKK, who you've just mentioned. Or are they just that much faster they can get away with it and just worry about Jake, who they know is on a Joker? So maybe they're just racing for second here.
Potentially. The thing with Corey is he's never going to catch them. I think Pete's he knows perhaps that he has to pass Corey soon, and Corey I think's actually pitting, so that he's got a penalty.
Oh.
Don't rage quit.
Jake being pushed all the way wide by Arnold, but scrapes through, does he? Arnold breaks later, Jake has the inside, becomes the outside, and Arnold holds on to P2. That was a very aggressive defensive move. Nothing wrong with it here in JACKOCAR. And somehow Jake is going to have to come up with a new way to get around. Here he goes then, to the inside. Jake O'Sullivan, does he get P2 now? Oh, he's trying, and Jake gets through.
Brilliant.
Good driving. JACKOCAR driving.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Fantastic. So, unfortunately for those two, it's one, let Pete straight into their DRS, and two, giving Casper a 2-second lead. But and even worse for Jake, I think Arno's going to come straight back at him, is he? Or that would cause a lot of problems, but I mean, isn't that what he wants? And look at how much Jake's brake chain. He's creatively saving his ERS and just making sure that Arnold can't get anywhere near his teammate. He's very much blocked that option off. Pete is pushing too hard. He's already got a 3-second time penalty, but at least he's in the fight. So let's see how this goes on the main straight. I'd imagine that Jake is going to let himself get overtaken here. Ooh, pit stop. Well, had to do it at some point. Right, let's actually see. Ben Shaw has already passed him, and in fact, look at this. He might get two cars in one here as he gets past Jordan. Will he get by Risky as well? Not quite, but Ben Shaw is very much making this strategy work. If he can get past Risky, that's a genuine move for position on a Joker driver and move him up to 4th place, effectively net 2nd. So that's working brilliantly.
Out my mouth, that Risky is a Joker driver. How much is Ben willing to push, though? He's trying to keep Jordan behind him, but he won't want to sit behind Sullivan for too long, will he? So on the slower tyre is Mr. Lewis. But Ben Shaw looking very, very good here. Gareth, by the way, up to P7. The other Joker remains in P2. His gap to Casper has increased to 3 seconds. Fascinating all over the place. Jordan looking at a move on Ben Shaw, but it won't be down here.
I think he knows his place a little bit here. Surely...
Oh, big moment through the second part of Ascari.
Nicely saved. Oh, that wasn't saved. That was a huge crash for Yuri. That's a safety car. Oh dear. That's not good news for Arnaudo, KK, Nick, and Waitsy, who all pitted on that last lap, because surely this time they're all going to pit, apart from Jake. And Casper. Casper stays out. And, of course, Risky. But why is Casper staying out? That makes no sense to me.
I was on board with him, Owen.
Was he too late?
Come out, he slowed right down. No, he had the opportunity, but he just slowed right down and then just stayed out. He thought about it, and then I think he's made a mistake there. But he's done this before and come back and won races like it.
Unfortunately, Leroy's pitted, and he wasn't changing the front winner. He would have been up there just behind Ben Harrett. So here's Arnold. He's 7th now. He's well, he's not really lost out, has he? Because the guys who he was going to lose out to when they pit didn't pit. So the situation here is that Casper leads, has to pit. Jake leads, only has to pit once. So sorry, Casper has to make 2 stops. Jake 1, Risky 1, Ben Shaw 1, Gareth 2, Ben Harrett 1, the rest 1. That's effectively it, really. I hope that makes sense. But it means that the Bens have gained exactly what they were hoping to gain, and also on the slightly newer tyres, it means Ben Shaw is that little bit closer to Jake, which will give him really a chance of actually fighting for the win on track.
Yeah. Net's P3 for the Season 8 champion. It's perfect for him. On a game where he says he doesn't like racing, he is racing, dare I say, for a victory in Season 10.
No, I'm trying to work out.
17 laps to go.
I'm trying to work out really if it's still worth Casper pitting, because he's going to lose out. But if he pits now, he might beat 1 or 2 drivers out of the pits if he waits any longer. I mean, there's only 8 laps until the 2nd stage. You know, it'll be a short shift. Shift on the softs maybe, but he's not. He's committed to it, isn't he? He's committed to it. Gareth, I get it, because he'll do his let me try and lead a lap trick. Of course, that trick probably won't work because he's already got 3 drivers in front of him who've already made a pit stop, but maybe he'll try and take advantage of something later on. But, yeah, for Casper, though, that's just... Yeah, well, no, actually, hold on. In Monaco we did this, and then he won the race, when we were on about his strategy blunders. So we'll come back to his strategy blunder at the end of the race, but it wouldn't be the first time he's got his strategy completely wrong, Casper, in a race this season. Be it not pitting enough times, be it pitting at the wrong time, be it just cheating, whatever he does, things tend to go wrong with him. So, yeah, we'll keep our eye on it. Why is Corey so far behind? I know he made another pit stop, but he seems insistent on being as far behind as possible. I didn't realise he'd lost that much, really, but he is on a new set of the hard compound tyres now.
So far behind, he's at the back.
Yeah. He had been at the back, hadn't he? Because that front wing he had to replace, but... Yeah, he needs some comeback drive. Kieran's a little bit put back into play now, isn't he? Having fallen to the back earlier on, he can at least see some cars in front of him now. And Pete Nyan, he'll be really regretting that penalty, I think, because he's not in the worst position I've ever seen in my life, and he just has to hope everyone around him picks up some penalties to undo that damage, because it's not there's potential here for him to get a good result, and he needs it down in the chase, especially if Ben Shaw's going to go on and try and win this race. He needs to be there to pick up the pieces just in case it goes wrong. As Casper slows us right down, we're about to restart the race.
Yeah. If it's anything like Tuesday night, there will definitely be a handful more penalties dished out to those drivers as they cross the line at the end. At the moment, though, it is just Pete Knighton with his 3 seconds. I'm almost certain there's a handful of warnings that have definitely been distributed by race control. Casper, very, very slow restart. Nothing wrong with this. Absolutely fine. Nice consistent speed. And everybody is in the train now that Corey has caught up. So, Owen Wyatt, it's back over to you. A slow exit out of Parabolica. How does Casper handle this one?
Well, Jake's staying at a safe distance so he can possibly try and preempt this. I would expect Jake to try and floor it around the attenuator and just hope for the best. But let's see. He might as well. Yeah, he's tried. He's tried to, but I think he could have preempted that. A few behind have preempted that, and there could be a bit of chaos down towards turn 1. Can Jake get past Casper anyway? With the slipstream side by side into the first chicane, and Jake is back into the lead. So he has got that restart absolutely spot on. Ben Shaw is in front of Arnold. He was trying to get back past him. He had a very good restart on those new hard compound tyres. He's ahead of Ben Shaw, or Ben Spurs, sorry, and Gareth, and those two are now side by side with P6. And I think Ben Harrods, he will take that position and keep it for now. Risky held on to third. There's a bit of side by side at the back. Corey's already made up 4 places in what's been going on, so hopefully he can keep that pace up and get himself back into play. OKK's made a few places up as well. Pete's fallen back.
By Casper Owen. Sullivan's going to be all over the back of him. Sorry to interrupt as they head down towards Ascari. I think he's used DRS to get away from him, but he was so loose out of the second Lesmo.
Oh, and so's Jake.
He's very much in this race, yeah. Race on here.
Side by side all the way down to the Parabolica. And I reckon Risky actually might have the best run out of the three of them, but there's just no room for him here as Casper does retake the lead. Do you know... I'm just... Did we work out who won the first stage? Was it Casper?
It was Casper, yeah.
It was Casper, yeah, so there's nothing else to worry about on this one, but I think Casper might get done by 2 or 3 of them here.
Oh, there goes Sullivan Lewis!
Where's the gap though? He's found a small gap through the middle, and he's going to try it on Jake, or has he just outbroke himself? He might have just outbroke himself. He's made the corner though. Oh, a little bit of contact there as well. Ben Shaw trying to push his way through. Arnold gets a crucial move done on Ben Shaw and on Risky. That could be a race-winning move. That we will see how that pans out later on. But here comes Arnold on his teammate. He's made one more stop. Arnold in this race. Oh, he's going to get passed into the lead straight away. Jake's got it wrong again in a chicane. Really struggling out there. It's ERT 1-2. Bizarre. 2 mistakes in 2 laps from Jake. He's really struggling out there.
I don't think we've ever seen that before, have we? As Risky, I think, clears the path for Ben Shaw. He knows he's faster.
This is about to get properly good here, you know, on the main straight again. I can't wait. And Arnold's not the fastest through the Ascari chicane. You can see it on board from Ben Shaw. Everyone just closes up as Nick Egan has had a moment and he's recovered. Luckily not found a wall, a bit like we saw with Yuri earlier on. But into the final corner, we've got a lovely helicopter shot here watching Casper. Hopefully we can stick with it because that'll give us a great view. Sadly not. As I think, do you know what? That's a very sensible move, that from Jake. Get yourself out of that situation, take the Joker pit stop, and just hope there's not a safety car for other drivers to take advantage of. As we do see the ERC drivers swapping positions, that is a lot calmer than it would have been if Jake was involved. But it is Casper back into the lead. It still, though, has to be 2 stops, and that is off the road again for Gareth and for Ben. Oh, there's a lot going on in that first chicane. All sorts of piling up and contact and incidents. But somehow they've all kept their wheels in the car. But, well, it's not over yet, actually. Front wings are going off all over the show and off. Go sleep, right? That was appalling driving, wasn't it? Right, and it's still going as the safety car comes back out.
Wow.
Which is, well, Casper's going to have to pit on this one. But will anyone be able to make a second stop? Arnold can... Well, he can't actually. It's too early, isn't it? But still, pit stops can be made here.
I'll tell you what, Owen. Ben Shaw, it's ruined it for him because he made his stop under safety car. Jake has just pitted, but he's last. And Mr. Sullivan Lewis, I think, will become net race leader all of a sudden.
This is it. Risky can pit into this. You're right. This might well be ideal for him. Pretty much not for anyone else. But for Risky, he's the only one who can pit here. and take any sort of advantage, because the other guys have to wait till lap 19 to make their second stops. Casper's going to have to pit during this, I think, otherwise his race is pretty much over, and he does. So Risky, yeah, he's going to pit, slow it down, nice and safe, because this could be your season coming alive. Where is Jake then? He's currently stuck behind Baza, who's got a front right puncture, and obviously Jake can't pass him here, so anyone who's pitting right now, Gareth is going to pit and come out in front of Jake too, as is Nick. So all these guys pitting are going to be ahead of Jake. That could be crucial, because Jake's going way too slowly. There's nothing that he can do, because Baz is there. Let's see where Risky is. He's out on track, 13th place, new set of mediums, miles ahead of Jake. Net race leader. And Baz, how have you done that? You've got 3 wheels on your wagon and you're speeding into the pit lane. Oh dear, Bazza. New softs. He'll be glad he's got another pit stop in this race, because he needs to hit that 10-second penalty off. But yeah, let's just appreciate that, by the way, this P4 for OKK is pretty much on merit. We've just got to we've got to keep reminding you of this. He's not locked into this. He's not he's not made one less stop than everyone else. He's on the legit strategy. He's on fresher tyres than the guys around him. OKK is driving a very good race. We need to give him that shout out. Fantastic.
Yeah. I was going to say, OKK, very well done. Ben Harrott in the same boat as Ben Shaw, can't pit, but in a very good place. They will have to pit with Arnold after lap 18. It is Sullivan Lewis who has come out P13. Net race leader. I spoke about him a couple minutes ago. 1,484 days since he last won in JACKOCAR in the Cup Series.
Sorry,
win,
I had a panicking
victory in Austria.
I had a panicky moment there. I thought Arno was about to smash into the safety car to get the camera angle. It's a bit deceiving. I was having a sip of my water. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, I thought we were about to see a Mr. John moment again. But no, not quite. Sorry, I'll let you repeat your stat there on on Risky. Sorry.
24th of September 2020. It was 1,484 days ago. That's the last time that Sullivan Lewis won in the Cup Series. The Austria race where he needed to win, and he did win. Pete Knighton pulling a gap that day for him to help him win, but he got the win nonetheless.
Does that Mavs check out the number of days? Say that again.
Oh yes. 1,484.
God, we're old.
Oh yes.
That's appalling.
Season 2 as well.
I know, that's appalling.
That's not even
that
season 1.
Dear, now I know how Pete feels. And Pete, he's still in P5. Again, that penalty is good. It's going to come and bite him in the arses, isn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unless he's got some sort of way of getting it removed, but I doubt it. He's also got front wing damage, which doesn't help things. But I'm hoping we'll see a safety car come in this lap. But because Baz is, well, he's taking his 10-second penalty, we probably will have to go for one more lap, which means we'll have what? 2 laps of racing and then pit stops, which is always exciting. So unless the safety car just leaves him behind, but I mean, based on what it did at the start, it will go for 4 laps if it needs to.
The thing is, I think the race might be ruined for Jake at this point. Oh no, sorry, no, take that back.
Well, it depends if he gets caught up in anything.
Yeah, that's it.
And a bit of field spread. The fact is that Risky, he's only 2 cars ahead of him, but he's ahead of him. So that's a struggle. Arnold, if you can lead away from this restart, and Ben Shaw, they're both very quick. I mean, Arnold can make another safety car stop as well. If they get another safety car, he can take advantage of it. So I think Jake is still probably the favourite to win, let's be honest. But I mean, if the midfield goes anything like it did in that last run, actually, anything can happen. That was like final lap stuff, wasn't it? From those midfield, there's like 5 or 6 of them.
In the wall!
Oh
the safety
my!
car.
Well, there you go.
So I shouldn't laugh, but there's no front wing on that car.
Sadly, I missed that. I was too busy watching Jake. So what does he do? Because when this safety car comes in, he's got 2 laps. He's got to, before he can make his second mandatory stop. Does he just live with it? I mean, it's Monza. If there's any track you're going to lose your front wing on, it's here. And just think of the drama, think of the entertainment as Arnold. I'd like to say he nearly put it into the side of the safety car.
Spun.
And Catboy's
Kieran
gone.
spun, sorry.
Yeah. Let's say.
I think he's beached.
Oh, don't.
Oh, lucky boy.
Puncture. He's run over. Do you know what he's done? He's ran over Arnold's front wing. That'd be what he's done.
Oh no! The JACKOCAR playoffs.
This might deliver
once again.
This could be game over. 30-second penalty. Crime.
We saw that, Kieran Spears.
Disgraceful. How dare you? As the safety car is coming in without Kieran. If I'm Arnold, I've ruined my race. I'm in JACKOCAR. I'm not in PSGL. Just stick with it. Let's see what happens. You'll have unbelievable straight line speed. It might be enough.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I don't think that's ever happened before. I'm so sad. I'm glad you caught it because I completely missed it.
I clicked it. I'll share that one later on the JACKOCAR Twitter.
Oh.
Anyway,
well, Arnold, he's slowing it down. He's certainly acting like he's about to restart properly. Let's say, the only way he can salvage his race is if he somehow just sticks with this for 2 laps. Arnold de Grief is going to set records for straight line speed here, but the second he gets to a corner, it's not going to happen for him. But as he comes across the line, the race leader restarts without a front wing. Good luck, everyone else, basically, because, oh my god, it's 4 wide behind him already, and we haven't even got to turn 1. Here we go. Ben Shaw, he doesn't send it. He's got Ben Harrett all over him. They're all sort of mucking about. There's stuff flying everywhere through the midfield. But look at Corey making his way through the field. He's got ahead of OKK, and Pete Knighton's got through too. Arnold still leads, so like I said, a straight line speed. It'll do him fine, but here in the middle sector, he'll be a sitting duck to Ben Shaw.
I don't know if you mentioned it, Owen, but to Arnold, he's going to get past here. Arnold has to do this lap
and the next one.
Lap. He cannot pit this lap. Yeah.
Lap
18, it'll be a stage point this lap, which I think Ben Shaw is going to romp away and win.
I just want to mention, by the way, Risky's already up to 8th in all this, as Ben Harrett moves up to 2nd place, and Arnold's going to keep falling here. He's got his teammate behind him now. He'll be urging him to move out of the way as quick as humanly possible, and this is going to help Jordan. Jordan's going to gain 3 or 4 places. Contact on the straight. Oh, how has he not put that in the wall, Jordan? That could have been so nasty. And oh, he's hit his teammate, pushing Arnold around the final corner. Here comes Risky. He's got Casper on his inside, and Casper's moved up to 7th place. Of course, where's Arnold now? He's 10th. He's got Gareth passing him. Gareth is on arguably the best tyres out there. He does have to pit again, of course, but most of them do. And a bit more side by side into turn 1, all sorts of contacts going on here. This is just as messy as it was last time. And Kieran said this would be a rubbish race.
What does he know?
What does he actually know?
P17.
Clueless. As Casper and Jordan now sit side by side, I would have thought that would be a relatively easy move for Casper to make on a teammate. Arnold. He's not going to be able to do anything about it. Oh, who's that off? Is that MK Bourne? I thought that was Kid Jake for a second. Sadly, he's dragged Matt Lester off with him. There was a lot of debris off there, but there's no safety car for it, unfortunately. So that just ruins Matt Lester's race, effectively, is what that's done. Ben Shaw's been caught up by Ben Harrett, and we've got a leading train that's running all the way down to Risky in 9th. But who all are going to pit on this lap? And look at OKK. Look at this. Go on, Michael. Give it a go on, Casper. Down the inside of the Parabolica. Ah, spoil sport. It's fine. It's race management. He's not put it into the wall yet today. And I know last time I said that he promptly did. Pitters, not a surprise. We're going to see a lot of this over the next few laps. But I'm just focused on OKK and Corey, actually. Let's watch Corey sit the lead first. That's probably more important, actually. But Michael OKK, can he make a move on Casper? No, he's almost crashed into Jordan, and Jordan's crashed into him. Nice.
Nicely done.
Ben Harrett's now being attacked by Casper, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about it. Jake is now the car behind what's his face, Risky. So that's that situation. Risky might take as a bit of encouragement to move forward.
Ben Harrett gave Casper Klein no room. And he keeps him behind him. Casper's livid behind that helmet as he remains stuck behind Ben
Mike's
Harrett.
gone off again.
Yellow flag for the German. And there's action all over the place. Mainly on this rundown to Ascari then. Corey, Casper, Ben Harrett, OKK and Gareth, your top 5.
Oh, I tell you what, that was a decent run. Oh, go on, give us a safety car, I dare you.
Go on.
Oh, don't tell me we've run out. That would be tragic. Here comes Casper for the race lead. Oh, we must have run out of safety car slot. That's a bit sad, isn't it? But round the final corner, are we gonna? It's Mike out of the race, by the way. It's MK Born. But Corey pits, and a lot of the rest do. If we're out of safety car slots, then that's gonna make Casper and Gareth's strategy even more precarious because they're screwed. Basically, is what that means. So Casper leads from Risky in second. He's got a car now between himself and Jake. And really, would you want anyone other than Gareth to be the guy to hold up Jake O'Sullivan?
It's written in the stars, isn't it? With 6 to go here in Monza. Surely Gareth is team player to Sullivan now, or does he think about himself and trying to get out of the round of 10? There is, of course, an extended round of 10 this season, 3 races, so we go to Canada next week, as opposed to the 2 races that we're used to. But what does Gareth do? Does Sullivan need the help? And how much of a threat is Jake O'Sullivan? Because at the moment, he is not.
He's on the wrong tyres, isn't he? He is on the wrong tyres.
Race leader.
He is on the wrong tyres, is Jake. He's only got, what, 5.5 laps to do something about this. And Risky, we said it before, he's good around here. He knows what he's doing. He won the K-Series title here last season. He very nearly won the Cup Series race here last season. He's certainly one of his stronger tracks here, and Canada, actually, in fact. It could be a very good round of 10 season here for Sullivan Lewis as he comes round the final corner once again. Casper, I think the realization's come for him that there's going to be no more safety cars, so he has to pit, which means it is speed 1, speed 2, and I don't think if you'd guessed 100 times you would have thought that order would be Risky and Gareth. But here we are. For Risky, if I'm Gareth, I'm staying out till lap 26 and making damn sure that Jake doesn't get involved. I've got to check Baza, by the way. Is this legit for Baza? Because this is good if this is legit, because we might need a little bit, and I mean a lot actually, of VAR, of JACKOCAR. But I mean, he sits P4 in a minute, would become third after Gareth's pit stop, and he's got 12 seconds to the car behind.
I'm going to check that. You carry on doing your thing. Baza made a stop on lap 7, so that was the mandatory. And then anything after lap 18. Where are you, Baza?
Oh no, he's got 6 laps on those tyres, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
To stop.
That's a shame, isn't it? Gap between the lead and, well, between Risky and Jake is now 3 seconds. That gap's going up. And Risky's got marginally more ERS as well. Oh, look at this, by the way. We've got a freeway scrap between Corey, between Casper, between Ben Shaw, and it's getting very exciting. Gareth has now pitted, so it's going to be a bit of a... Oh my god, look at the freeway down the back straight, by the way. That was fantastic. Oh, contact! And they've survived. Well. Incredible.
Seasoning champion. He loves it, doesn't he? He's back to his best, is he?
Look at the...
P5.
Who gets the DRS, though?
Not Ben.
Not Ben. They're going to split him again. Oh dear. And Corey, he'll stay ahead of his ERT teammate. Will Ben fancy sending back up the inside? No. And
by the way.
Yes, he's come out in P9. He'll be very aggressive on these softs, and we've got more yellows. How's that happened? Nick is maybe just broke too early, but that must have damaged something if he's pitting after only 2 laps on loose tyres, and now at the back. What the difference a week can make. He's now taking a penalty actually as well, so yeah, he's going to finish last by some distance, last week's race winner. Back at the front, only 4 to go at the end of this one. And already 4 to go at the end of this one. And Risky, he's holding the 3-second lead. I tell you what, this could be another win.
Owen, don't say it. Don't say it.
We've been saying it all day. It's a possibility. He'll want us to. I know he won't really, but if he's watching the stream back,
Big moment for Casper out of Ascari. Corey and Ben are going to sniff that. Sorry to interrupt once again, but I think Casper may have recovered on the run down to Parabolica.
I know, but down to
As
turn one.
Words, I stop you from saying Sullivan Lewis is going to win because of action on track. But this time around, it's free to go.
4 to go.
No.
I made that mistake. 4 to go. It's even more of the action. It's happy days. Right, here comes Corey. Ben Shaw's not able to do anything about it. And he'll just sit back. He thought about it, didn't he? Ben Harrod, by the way, Gareth and OKK. Oh, look at that 3-1. They're all hitting each other, and that's just appalling driving from the three of them. That's just ridiculous. As they all three get the corner completely wrong, and Gareth comes out in front. Back with Corey, Casper, and Ben Shaw. They're very close, but they're not going to do anything until they get to DRS. Pete Knighton and Waitsy are now very much involved in this fight. So, O'Keeg's got a 10-second penalty. Well, it was bound to fall apart eventually, and it surely has. But that's a 5-way scrap for P7 on track. So, plenty going on. Jake on the last lap. It's 7 tenths he's gained, but risky. Crucially, I think he's going to get DRS here. Let's have a look. He's behind Nick. I think he might be within a second. He is! He's going to get DRS. Crucial. That is absolutely crucial. And Jake, he'll hate saying that. And he's getting a lovely toe as well. But, well, you don't have to move out of the way, do you? Actually, do you, if you're Nick? But, I mean, why would you not want Risky to win this race if you're Nick?
Because
there's no reason.
Nick and Jake are good friends.
I know, but there's no, well, the friends where you find them and all the rest of it, but in the playoffs, you don't have any friends. If you,
Jake's friend is in front of the race leader, the gap comes down despite the DRS Owen.
Oh my god, look at this into turn one again. Gareth's lost the other side of his front wing and he's been pushed off the track this time, and that's just incredibly poor driving.
NFA. Let them race.
Let them race. Let them race. Pete's had his customary spin for the day, not the way he was expecting to, but that's a bit of retribution
still
now.
Behind here, by the way.
Well, maybe he's going to try and get the next dose of DRS, but he can't do this for much longer because, I suppose if he just sits back and tries to survive to the start of lap 27, then he'll have DRS on the last lap. But Jake will too at this rate. There's 2 to go here in Monza, and I think Risky just has to bite the bullet here and pass. He's been able to save ERS here. He's going to keep saving it. This is a bold strategy. If it works, though, it should pretty much guarantee victory. Assuming Jake doesn't send it, which we know he can do from time to time. And let's just cut back to the others, because they are still fighting some of the other guys out there. We've got Corey still on the back of Ben Shaw. Corey, of course, has his penalty, so as far as Ben's concerned, it doesn't really matter what happens here. OKK's got Waitsy and Arnoud. Oh, look at the overspeed for Arnoud. That's just ludicrous. You'd think his front wing was still off the car. And he's down the inside and up into P6. Yellow flags are in the middle sector. That is where the leaders are, but nothing's happening.
Nick's out of the way now.
Nick is out of the way. The crucial thing for Risky is he's got 80% ERS. Jake's run out. That, as long as Risky doesn't, touch wood, put this in the wall, he just has to drive the last lap. But it's easier said than done when you haven't won a race in 1400 days, whatever the number is.
I'm very, very nervous for this.
Actually, say the number again. I'm going to write the number down.
1484.
1484.
You'll never guess what. It's Monza. And it's 1 lap to go in JACKOCAR. Sullivan Lewis leads on the final lap for the first time in 1500 days nearly. Does he have a race win in him? It would take him to a position in the chase where he may just have a shot at a Cup Series title in 8 weeks' time. He's got Jake O'Sullivan, the 15-time race winner, breathing down his neck, but crucially, not inside DRS. It's a handful of corners to go for Sullivan as he completes Sector 1. He just has to keep it on the road. The Season 7 Kia Series champion. Monza
Look
Once
who's in
again,
front of him.
delivering the goods. And there's a car.
It's Kieran, and the rain's falling. It's all happening. It's Kieran.
It's Kieran Spears.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. This is just to protect, I think, but risky. It's raining in the Ascari chicane. Don't do anything silly.
Matter.
He
Owen
was.
Wyatt, it does not matter.
He
Sullivan
was.
Lewis.
Yeah.
1.1 seconds the gap over Jake O'Sullivan. He's bringing it home. It's 1 corner to go. He doesn't need Kieran Spears. Parabolica in the wet for the Season 7 Kia Series champion. 1,484 days. Sullivan Lewis once again is a winner in the Cup Series. What a moment. Fantastic drive for the young man from Mansfield. And Jake O'Sullivan, P2, the other joker. Casper, 16 seconds behind and struggling. Ben Shaw, another big night for him in the chase campaign. And behind him will be Corey Dalton, who hangs on from on out despite the penalties. Owen Wyatt.
That must be possibly the most impressive win we've seen for a long time. I've got to explain how he managed that, by the way, at the end. It was fantastic. I said about him using his ERS on the last lap, but what he actually did was on the run down towards Parabolica on the lap 26, he blew the ERS completely to the point where Jake fell out of the 1 second gap, and that's what allowed that last lap to be so comfortable for him. There was rain in the air. I was going to mention it, but you were very much in your flow, and then it started raining anyway, so we didn't need to preempt it. But yes, very well managed there from Risky, and it's bad luck on Jake because he pitted right before a safety car came out, but it happens all the time, doesn't it? And I think for Risky, it has to be said, when he won in Austria, it was a bit of luck, really, wasn't it, involved, when he just sort of found himself in the lead. But this one, he earned a lot more, and that strategy on the last lap, perfect. And yeah, a very feel-good win, and our chase winner in the second round of the playoffs, which is always nice to see.
And the 10th winner this season, Mr. Lewis. We've hit double figures once again on another new game. They seem to be doing it every single season now. 20 full-timers, and 10 of them, albeit one of them, Khalifa, have won a race this season. But that was big. He's done it in Season 2, he's done it in Season 10. Some said he may never win in the Cup Series, but he went down to the Kia Series. He found himself some confidence, and he come back, and he's been able to pull this off. Sullivan Lewis, victorious in Monza. What a race, Owen Wyatt. Kieran said it was going to be rubbish. He was wrong.
Of course he was wrong. We knew he was going to be wrong. That was just rubbish predicting from him. But yeah, that was brilliant. That was everything you want a Monza race to be. We always, well, it used to be sort of a tradition where we'd always say, wait until the last lap of Monza here in JACKOCAR, it'd be mental. It felt like the entire race there was a final lap from start to finish. They were absolutely going for it. We've seen everything. We've seen rain, we've seen crashes, we've seen the race leader binning it under the safety car, restarting said race without a front wing. Anything that you could have predicted managed to happen, and at the end of it, Risky on the Joker took the win from Jake. It's a Joker 1-2. We obviously have had our first 1-2-3 Joker back in Imola, but still a 1-2, very impressive. Casper third, Ben Shaw, brilliant race for him in fourth, Corey fifth, Arnold, good recovery to sixth, wait to see seventh, Ben Harrett, Jordan, Gareth, Baza, Okeke, Pete, Lesty, Catboy, and then the retirements of Nick, MK Bourne, Leroy, Yuri, and Jamie.
Catboy. Fantastic. Wow. What more else is there to say? JACKOCAR at its best. The playoffs, they deliver, they never fail. And Monza, a classic, one of our favourites. More than happy with how that turned out, aren't you?
I'm very happy how that turned out. I'm glad we actually got a nice result. Although it has to be said, Jake's already making slight excuses in the chat about his floor damage. Just, you don't need to mention it. Just let him enjoy his race. Let him enjoy his win. But, yeah, that'd be why he wasn't catching up as quickly as we thought at the end. But, yeah, brilliant race, and this is what we always get with the playoffs. And obviously we've had all the dramas of the surprise winners and the mess that was Brazil. But next week is when we eliminate our first two drivers from the playoffs. Jacko will do the Mars overnight, but I imagine we might see a bit of swapping around the positions in the playoffs. And I would imagine Risky, well, he might not have quite taken the lead of the chase, actually, because Ben Shaw finished fourth, but again, Mars will be done on that one. But yeah, things are already tying up in the championship, and yeah, in Canada next week, where we've seen many an exciting race as well, we will lose our first 2 drivers, and I'm sure it'll be just as dramatic as this. You will be there, we will be there. Safe travels, enjoy your evening, and yeah, rewatch that race, it's great.